All right, everybody, I'm Shea, and I'm joined today by Brandon. We're from Screen Love Affair, and we're here today to tell you everything you need to know to make your Oscar ballot for this weekend's Oscars, okay? 2026 Oscars. Not gonna lie, seems pretty set in what the picks are, but there's always those snaky categories. So we're gonna tell you what we would prefer to win, what we think will win, and then we'll tell you guys from two different odds people what the odds are saying, okay?
And if you come away with a better understanding of the upcoming Oscars, so you can place your sports bets on Kalshi or Bet365, not sponsored, but we will take the sponsorship.
And honestly, not for moral reasons. We will take your money to push your gambling app for these Oscars. The 2027 Oscars, hit us up. We'll do this again, and we'll only use your betting odds to set these for this video next year. All right, let's kick it off with the writing. We got the writing category. We're going to go original screenplay. The nominees are Blue Moon, It Was Just an Accident, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. So my quick off the cuff, Brandon and I have not pre-discussed this. Off the cuff, what is your pick to win? What do you want to win of those on the list?
Story-wise, it's a toss-up between Marty and Sinners. I would lean a little bit more towards Sinners, probably.
Okay. I will say Blue Moon was very impressive on the writing side of things. It was like one of those ones where I'm like, wow, there's a lot of acting. It's like a pure dialogue movie. I think that's more challenging to write. But yes, I'm kind of torn between Marty Supreme and Sinners. I'd probably give the personal edge to Marty Supreme. But I checked, it's oddschecker.com and polymarket. I did at least two different options here for us, and both of them had Sinners as the favored pick. So moving on to writing, it's adapted screenplay. We have the nominees are Bugonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Train Dreams. So I will kick off
Heavy hitters
with mine. Yeah, well, I think this one's a cakewalk. My pick to win and what I would pick of that list is One Battle After Another.
I like Bugonia a lot more than most, I would say, but I think as far as adapting something and making it just like a really interesting watch throughout, I would also go with One Battle After Another. I could see something like Hamnet or Train Dreams winning, though.
Yeah, I feel like if you need a backup, I would say Hamnet, but I think this is a cakewalk for One Battle, and Polymarket and Odds Checker has that as the favorite as well. Moving on to VFX, this is this easiest one probably. I feel like this is the biggest lock without question. Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, I think it was The Lost Bus, and Sinners.
Yeah, I was going to say, funny enough, Lost Bus has a lot of incredible VFX work in it. I watched a breakdown on it, didn't watch the movie, so...
I never heard of it until this, to be honest with you.
It looks like a pretty generic Apple streaming kind of thing, but I did watch breakdowns on it, and I was really blown away with like the layer of detail and attention to fire and all that. But yeah, I definitely think Avatar being an Avatar movie, like the last one, it was just like the wettest CGI in the world, and this one is just that again. So I'd probably pick fan favorite Avatar. What's Polymarket saying?
Both. Yeah, both Odds Checker and Polymarket have Avatar as the heavy favorite on this one.
Nice.
Moving on to sound, we have F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Sarat. Once again, I feel like this one's a cakewalk for it. My pick is F1. If I got to vote, I would have voted F1. Especially in IMAX, the audio experience is almost most of that movie, which is pretty crazy given the visual nature of it too.
Totally.
And the music carries a lot of that elevation for me. So my pick is F1.
Yeah, I was trying to be a contrarian because I love arguing with you so much, but I do think F1 is, for those same reasons, probably what I would hope for. I think Sinners, phenomenal, and I think that's more musical than, say, sound editing. But sound editing, I think technically speaking, F1 is the proper one to go for.
Well, also to clarify too, there's one sound award now, right? They only do sound. It's not, they don't split between mixing and stuff. So, and editing, I think was the other one. Now
Bohemian
it's just
Rhapsody,
sound.
really
Yeah, yeah,
ruined
yeah.
that for the Oscars because everyone was like Bohemian Rhapsody when it swept that year for these categories, like editing, especially terribly
Well,
edited
it
movie.
won for editing, which yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sound is just one category. There's still editing, but sound editing
What does
is no
polymarket
longer
say on
counted.
these?
Yeah, F1, both of them. It's
Okay.
polymarket and odds checker both have F1. There's a lot of uniformity. There is a couple key ones that we'll get to where there's separation, but there's a lot of uniformity on the odds this year too. So, moving on to production design, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. Okay, personally, I feel like this and costumes are a case of where it's like the most design, not
Yeah.
necessarily the best. I think from an authenticity standpoint, I really liked Marty Supreme for a lot of that. The locations, the sets when he's like running through New York and all of that. Like I really dug all of that. My gut pick, like if you're making a ballot, Frankenstein, I would be stunned if it doesn't win this. I didn't like the movie. I'm partly that's influencing my feelings on that too, but I think this is a lock for production design for sure. Is
Yeah,
Frankenstein.
I'm definitely in the camp of disagreeing. Like, I think Marty Supreme was good and fine, but the one takeaway I had from Frankenstein was how beautiful it was. Visually, costumes, set deck. Again, filmed in Toronto. I would love a Toronto movie with people I know that got to do the decorative set deck and stuff like that, scenic work to say that we had an Oscar movie. So my gut, heart, hope, and my vote is definitely on Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
And the odds are ever in your favor as both, again, Polymarket and Odds Checker have Frankenstein winning that.
For the viewers at home, I have not looked up my gambling and polymarket plugs, so I'm kind of going off the cuff. Shea's the research informant here, so
yeah, I did all the
I
prep
feel good
work
on
for
that.
this. And this is,
Yeah,
we'll clarify at the time of recording, this is Sunday, what are we, March 8th at 8 o'clock. So if the odds have changed since then, which is possible, there's a couple we'll get to where
yeah.
that can adjust.
I
But
know
these were
Best
at the
Actor
time of
changes day by
recording.
day.
Yeah, well, let's don't, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
But definitely not that. On the next one, we have original song, Dear Me from Diane Warren, Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters, I Lied to You from Sinners,
That's it. That's the one.
Sweet Dreams of Joy, Viva Verdi. Never saw that or heard that. And then Train Dreams from Train Dreams. Well, you just said so your pick is I Lied to You.
Yeah, that if it gets one Oscar, that's the only one. Like I think that scene with that song, it's got to go to that.
I'm with you. I Lied to You is my personal pick, what I would have voted for. But I will say the heavy favorite from both of them is Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters.
Real, okay.
Like 90, like as of record, 90+%.
It was a visually interesting movie. Like I saw it on streaming, and we haven't talked about
that
it.
Golden song, everybody's playing it. Ashley had heard it. She never heard the Sinners song.
All right, yeah, fair enough.
It is, again, on both sites. It is the heavy favorite, unfortunately, because I'm with you. My pick would be Sinners. I always feel like I disagree on what wins Best Original Song every year. And if that's the case, this year will be no different. But now we're getting into score. So we have there's some of these names, dude, let me tell you. I didn't pre-Google these either. So Jerskin Fendrix for Bugonia. We have Alexander Desplat for Frankenstein, Max Richter for Hamnet, Johnny Greenwood for One Battle After Another, and Ludwig Göransson for Sinners. So who do you got for this one?
I got to go back to Tried and True there. I think Ludwig elevated a great movie. It's got to be Sinners for me. That being said, I think the Bugonia score was actually like phenomenal. Like it was a heavy hitter. It moved that movie up a lot in my books. And lastly, the Hamnet stuff, funny enough, didn't enjoy 80% of the movie, but that last 20% was so solid. And in that last 20%, they used a piece of music that we joked about on the episode. Was the song they used in Arrival. It's a great cinematic song and it fit really well. But I think as an overall, it felt like a cheap trick, almost like when you play almost like just any licensed music or needle drop. That movie's version of a needle drop was that phenomenal cinematic song.
Yeah.
So it took away from the originality. So I would say Sinners, and then if not, I wouldn't be upset if Bugonia got some good love on that.
Yeah, I'm in the Sinners camp on this one as well. I think Hamnet getting nominated when your most impactful piece of score in the movie is one that's technically ineligible for this award.
Yeah.
you lost me. So I'm going Sinners, and so are the odds makers
Let's
at
go.
polymarket and oddschecker.com.
Uh,
Next up is makeup and hairstyling. Once again, not often, in my opinion, does it go to the best, but maybe the most. And keeping that in mind, Frankenstein Kokuo or something? I don't know. Never
Japanese
heard of
movie, I
it.
think. Yeah.
Sinners, Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister. So who do you got for this one?
Ooh, funny enough, Ugly Stepsister is like a pretty interesting horror movie, and it's nice to see horror getting in at the Oscars, even in a category that, like this. But personally, yeah, again, I just want to see Toronto thriving. I want to see the IATSE 873 people getting their day in the sun. I want it to be Frankenstein. Selfishly, as an IATSE 873 member, would love to have that on the radar for Toronto. I also, again, I think beautiful movie. So. That's the one thing I could talk about endlessly was how good it looked.
The odds agree with Brandon on this one. Both sites have this one going to Frankenstein. I don't feel strongly personally on this category at all. If anything, I'm more biased to really incredible, like, specific stuff. And so for that reason alone, I really liked the makeup in Smashing Machine. I thought they did a phenomenal job making The Rock not look like The Rock. So that's where my pick is going. But yes, the odds
Is
are
this rage
forever
bait chat?
Is it? We're going to speed run these shorts, okay? So for the live action short, the odds, both sites again have two people exchanging saliva. For animated shorts, both odds makers had Butterfly. For documentary short, both sites had All the Empty Rooms. And for documentary feature, which we also didn't watch any of, is The Perfect Neighbor, is on both sites. Once again, the favorite to win there. Moving on to ones we have seen. Not all of, actually, I haven't seen all these, but international feature. The nominees are The Secret Agent, It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value, Sirat, and The Voice of Hind Rajab. I don't think we've even covered any of these, but I know I've seen two of them.
Sentimental. Yeah, you've seen Sentimental. I'm surprised that they didn't get No Other Choice on the international
a lot
feature.
Of people surprised on that one, actually.
Because I feel like that's one that I would have kind of put my vote for. I would say logically, as somebody who knows a little bit about movies in the Oscars, I would go with The Secret Agent's probably favored because it's also, I believe, nominated for Best Picture or Best Actor or something. It's got other mentions where I don't think the other ones have as many. So just on a numbers standpoint, I would go with Secret Agent.
So the odds, actually, both sites have it for Sentimental Value, which would be my pick of the two that I saw, which was that and The Secret Agent. I did not like The Secret Agent. There was things about it, once again, that I thought were good, but just as a cohesive whole, just didn't work for me. Sentimental Value was good. I liked it less than a lot of other people, and I believe also got nominated for like awards as well. So it's one of those ones. Both of them got multiple nominations. So yes, the odds have Sentimental Value taking international feature. Oh yeah, animated feature we're also going to skip because I hadn't seen any of these. Heavily favored odds for K-pop Demon Hunters on both sides.
Yeah, that makes sense. Without having to cross-reference it, yeah, definitely. Also, I'd say Zootopia 1 was a bit of a masterpiece, and Zootopia 2 is a big departure, but it did gangbusters at the theaters. But yeah, K-pop, I think, was worthy of that. As an uninformed voter, as somebody at the Academy Awards who's just clicking a button, they have to watch the movies now. Apparently, that wasn't a part of the criteria before.
No, they don't. I've been reading some stuff where they just out and out admit they didn't. But anyway, moving on to costumes. Once again, another one I kind of always say gets chalked up to like most costumes. But Avatar, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. Personally, I tend to, again, fall into the camp of like a little bit more subtle. I really like, again, Marty Supreme in the same way I felt about the production design. I thought like everyone really looked the part. It really did feel like it was sort of like a time machine view for me. So I want to give that movie a lot of credit. But if I was, without anything else, if I was to pick, the obvious winner for this one will also be Frankenstein. And that is also what the odds have it in favor. And again, Brandon, let me guess. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to put words in your mouth.
No, you're wrong.
Oh,
No. I do want Frankenstein to get the most technical awards again as an IATSE 873 guy, but I would argue I actually want the bigger underdog win for Sinners. I want them to get the most
okay.
recognition this year, but the reason being there's a big and almost confirmed rumor, I'm pretty sure, that all the costumes for Sinners were actually purchased off of the failed Mahershala Ali Blade reboot from Marvel, because there's a period vampire scene in that was written and supposed to be done, and they prepped it. And so I think what happened with the backdoor for Ryan Coogler, talking to the production designer and the wardrobe people, they're like, oh, well, this isn't going anywhere. Here's all these period pieces, like, you know, and then he made a phenomenal vampire period piece. So just, yeah, that movie really felt and looked like Jim Crow era, Deep South. And I think, yeah, the costumes were subtle in that, but accurate. And to have that backstory that it was from a Marvel schlop to a Oscar win would be such a comeback. And I would love that to be the behind the scenes drama narrative. But otherwise, yeah, Frankenstein, popular vote, and IATSE representation.
Yeah. And like I said, the odds have that. Again, the most costumes without a doubt. So now we're into editing. F1. Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. I was a little torn on this one, actually. I think just to be a little different, though, I will say F1 would be the one I might have voted for on this. Again, to me, the editing is incredibly critical on a movie like that.
Make or break, yeah.
Yeah, for it to work as well as it did in the theater, I think is once again, big testament to how well that movie was edited, particularly those racing scenes, like really impactful stuff. And that really comes through in that. But what do you got for this one?
Again, not to fanboy over it, I do think the editing in Sinners added to the overall experience, and scenes where, you know, he's describing last time he saw the son was last time he saw his brother, the way they cut in for the kind of like the epilogue scene at the end, some of the choices, some like the quick flashes near the start to kind of hook in the audience. I think it was very competently edited, which you have to be an Oscar nomination. But I think there were some creative choices, and I'd like to see it. I would like to see it pull as much as it can. I don't know, just the fact that it was a genre movie of like horror and stuff. I really do think that I want it to do well. So I would put my popular vote, like what I want, on Sinners. But I do agree that F1 makes a lot of sense because that movie, not phenomenal, but it was so elevated by good editing and sound mixing and visuals.
This was the award that Bohemian Rhapsody won that everyone thought was egregiously bad.
There was like 31 cuts in one conversation scene.
You can win this without even being competently edited. So there's that. The odds have both websites have One Battle After Another winning this, which was my second. I thought there was a lot there for that. This is the part that I struggle. I'm like, how do you award editing? I know bad editing when I see it, but I don't know enough to be like, oh, I'm confident about what makes good editing. But my thing for Sinners is you can't win good editing when a good chunk of people walked out of your movie before it was done. You kept the most impactful moment hidden behind a little bit of credit, so some people left.
Yeah, fair
Does
enough.
that warrant it? Does that even count as editing for an awards consideration?
No, bro.
I have no idea.
It distinctly separates the tone of the movie. It was a creative choice. It wasn't smooth brain MCU post credits. It was big brain thematic. But no, I do actually love your anti-edit.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if that's what counts, but anyway, that was my thoughts on it. But One Battle After Another was sort of the one I was battling a little bit.
I'm just trying to remember moments in that movie where they did edits that were
the big one to me, the showcase scene, right? Like the hill and that driving and the chase sequence at the end, to me is like probably it's the single most memorable sequence, particularly as it related to editing in my head.
It's the cinematography for those scenes, and like, not to spoil, but yeah, I do think the cinematography on that is
what a transition, Brandon, because the next one on my list to discuss is cinematography. The nominees are Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams.
I want all of them to get a participation trophy. I don't want there to be a
My runner-up is Train Dreams. I love Train Dreams. I loved how well it looked. And then my friend Nick Chepley pointed out that in one of the shots, you can actually see a boom mic, which forever shattered my illusion about how good that movie looked. No, it killed me, but I'm like, well, that's one of those things, you should have edited that out. My pick for this one actually would be One Battle After Another.
Yeah, I would say, like, I'm really torn on Sinners and One Battle After Another. for different reasons. But One Battle After Another to me was such a feast, seeing it in 70 mil like I did Sinners, but feeling like I got more out of that movie in the 70 mil format. Again, that rolling hill scene changes with the format and with how they shot it. Apparently that scene was too steady the first time they shot it. It looked like CG because it was such a surreal ultra telephoto lens moving so seamlessly. So they loosened up the rig to have more shake. Just stuff like that that I heard about after when I was so already blown away. I think like it's 51% of me wants One Battle After Another. If it's not the best movie of all of the movies, I would say cinematography is one of the strongest for me, at least. I thought that was poignant.
Well, the odds actually have One Battle After Another, both websites
Let's
again,
go.
for cinematography. So the heavy favorite going in. Next up, we have casting. This is the first time the casting award is being put in. Unbelievable to me. There's still no stunt award, but casting, the first casting award. The nominees are Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and The Secret Agent and Sinners. I want your take on this before I give mine, because I actually feel really strongly about my opinion.
Weirdly enough, I would say Marty Supreme, especially elevating our boy Timothy to a higher status. But I do think, again, the casting for Sinners was really solid. Having the characters like even Cornbread was great. The comedic relief character in that. Delroy Lindo, what a epic pull for casting that I didn't have him on my radar. And when he showed up and he like was just solid in every little bit seen in that movie, all the freaky stuff with the love interest in that movie, like the cast in that movie, I'm like forgetting all their names, but the casting in that movie I thought was really solid. I would say I'm 51% Marty Supreme, and then my backup would have been Sinners, because I think the rest of the movies on the list are just good casts. I wouldn't say that's a good casting director.
Yeah.
It was just good cast.
To me, without a doubt, this should go to Marty Supreme, and it's not close. This is the one, like, their casting process is so specific and authentic to these movies, and to me is like a real difficult thing to do well. They pull out real people from one of the chubby guy who was his friend. I can't remember him either. But he was just some dude from a viral video. They saw a video of him at a bar cheering for the Knicks or something and threw him into the movie, made him audition though. Like, so they pull from a lot of different spots. And Sinners is an unbelievably solid cast, but you have work from almost all of those people to really go that way. And they pulled out some lesser known people for sure too. Like I get, why people could go that way, but like to me, the casting is such a huge chunk of what makes Marty Supreme so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a little bit more challenging that way. Again, knowing nothing about how to do it, but it seems like it would be the harder movie to cast. I would be careful if you're making your Oscar ballot to pick Marty Supreme for these kind of mid categories. There's just been a lot of headlines and stuff with this, all kinds of different things going on, and some of them are eye roll worthy, particularly about Timmy and comments about the opera,
the ballet.
Yeah. Give me a break.
Despite him wearing a ball cap about the New York Ballet. Come on, internet.
Give me a break. But anyway, so I would be hesitant to suggest, if you're going to roll the dice on a pick like that, I'm not super confident that Marty Supreme will have a lot of sort of down ballot support for a lot of the categories. But we're on to the main events now of the night, okay? This is a multi-card fight here. We'll start with directing. We got Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Joaquin Trier for Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Who do you have for Best Director?
That's tough, because at least three of those I have been fanboying this whole time. Funny enough, I went into Sinners saying, Ryan Coogler, the Black Panther guy, is it really that good? And now, respectfully, I would say that's a movie I've thought about all year, saw multiple times, in love with it. I think Paul Thomas Anderson always does a good job. I wouldn't be upset if he got it. I think One Battle After Another is just like a very poignant movie. His directing style really works. Marty, again, it's funny, the battle of the Safdie brothers between Smashing Machine and Marty Supreme, there's the good Safdie brother now, you know what I mean? The cultural conversation around them has shifted with the weight of that movie and how his direction has cleared some bars, So I think my safe bet, to keep being a fanboy, I want to go Sinners, but I could see One Battle After Another or Marty being higher. But again, like you just said, I'm not going to do Marty on this one, because there's wild card now. I think a month ago it wasn't a wild card. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it feels more
Sinners.
on the outside looking in. My pick for this is One Battle After Another. I thought there was just, again, like it's a pretty solid kind of group here, but that to me was just sort of the standout one. And the odds are also in Paul Thomas Anderson's favor. This was another one on Polymarket more, but was heavy odds for PTA for directing. Moving on to the acting, we have actress in a supporting role. Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value. God, here we go. Inga Ibsdottir Lilias, also from Sentimental Value. Amy Madigan for Weapons. Wunmi Mosaku for Sinners. And, and Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. I almost read the next line down. Yeah, Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. I'll be quick on this one. If, like, this is also one in my head is not close, is Tiana Taylor in One Battle After Another. Easily my favorite role. I saw all of those movies. Easily, I think, kind of the best, most impactful, and also not a role that dominates the runtime in a significant way. I would really say none of these roles do, which is a little more refreshing, because I hate when it's like, like they were on screen for 49% of the movie. Tiana Taylor is my personal vote for this one, but what do you have?
Same here. Let's go with it. Lock it in. What is the market saying?
The odds on both sides have it for Amy Madigan for Weapons, which I'm just saying right now, an unbelievable joke if that's what happens.
Old lady?
Like
oh
the
my
creepy
God.
lady.
From Gladys.
And
like she plays Gladys. Yeah. It's funny.
Are we serious?
Good role. Yeah, good role. Iconic like horror thing. And I love to see horror represented here, but I don't think it competes the same way with she made me hate and care about the characters far more effectively. Gladys was just cool and creepy, but Tiana Taylor as the deadbeat mom. Yeah, I think she was far more pivotal.
This is one, by the way, the odds were a little tighter on this. I'm not super convinced on this one. So if this is one you're waffling on, I think there would be a lot of love for Tiana Taylor on this, but the odds still are in Amy Madigan's favor. But now moving on to actor in a supporting role. We have Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. I'll be very quick because I said this in the review for it. My pick is Sean Penn. It's still Sean Penn. Unbelievable. Loved that role. The Academy has a history, and I say that because I can only think of one movie, but it's one that I was really, really stoked. One was Sam Rockwell in 3 Billboards. They're willing to give this specific award, even supporting actor, to a character that's not a good character, not a good person. Yes. And so I'm still confident in my pick. I love Sean Penn.
I'm with you 100%. I think Benicio is a good part of the movie, but the strongest thing that I hear about when people say, I just watched that Battle One Another movie. What's it called? I waited to stream it. All my coworkers who finally saw One Battle After Another, all of them come out being like, dude, Sean Penn in that? Like, what a maniac. What a guy who literally is like chewing the scenery, walking after that car accident. Like,
and his hair.
Yeah, dude. Like, he stole the show for me. I found him more interesting on screen than Bob, the main character, Leo.
Yeah.
I think Sean Penn, I would be so thrilled if Sean Penn won, but Leo didn't for Best Actor. Like, you know what I mean? Supporting actor, Sean Penn all the way. No discussion. I bet that the markets agree with that.
Yes, he's the favorite for both websites currently.
Okay.
Now moving on to the super headlines. Lead actress, Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue. Renate Renisiv? I'm butchering that. For Sentimental Value. And then Emma Stone for Bugonia. This has been slam dunk shut since it happened, since before the movie came out, I would say. This is Jessie Buckley to me. I would say personally, my ballot, if I had to my favorite, would be Rose Byrne. I fucking loved Rose Byrne, and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. That was an unbelievable role. That to me is going to be the performance on that list that I remember most. But I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with the Academy that Rose Byrne and Kate Hudson both made it in here,
Yeah.
because if I had Legs, I'd Kick You, I wouldn't, would have like came out kind of like an off time for the Oscars. It would have been easy for that movie to fly under the radar. And Kate Hudson in Song Sung Blue, I thought was phenomenal, but I just didn't think that movie would get on that radar, and she managed to eke through there. So I was really happy to see both of them in there. But what do you think?
Just super quick, if Conan O'Brien's hosting this year and Rose Byrne wins and he gets to give her the award, that would be funny enough, like one of those insider moments where it's like, oh, I should have seen that coming. And I would hope that, but I don't believe that's going to go that way for her. Yeah, reluctantly, I would also go with the Hamnet girl. I would go Jessie Buckley too. You're just seeing her in Bride, which again, mixed review opinions on that. But just her range as an actress was really strong. And she carries Hamnet, a movie I didn't, again, enjoy for 80% of the runtime. She makes it land. She's the main character in that movie. Hands down, it's more about her than Shakespeare. Yeah, I adored her in that, but it's tough because, again, I had a great time with Bugonia, and Emma Stone's always a treat. And again, I Had Legs, I Would Kick You was one of our favorite movies of last year, made our top 10s. It's one of our best reviewed podcast episodes on YouTube, at least. It's a movie that has legs on our channel because people keep going back to listen to that. Like it's actually really nice when people are trickling in after watching it to be like, what did these people think of it? Because it was such a thought-provoking movie and performance. But yeah, I think Jessie Buckley is going to get it. And I'm not mad about it, even if I wasn't the biggest Hamnet fan and the trailer was ass. Yeah, Jessie Buckley.
Yeah, the odds have it. Again, this was like 96%. Like, she's a lock for this one. Lead actor. Now, this is a role this was an award that I thought at the end of the year, at the start of this year,
so confident.
Was
That Boy Summer.
Impressed. Yeah, was locked in. It is now decidedly not locked in. So, our nominees are Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. Brandon, who do you got for Best
Wagner Moura,
Actor?
hands down. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's tough. Again, big Sinners fanboy, but I think I actually heard buzz of this today that Michael B. Jordan is favored, but I don't think I agree with that. I would probably swing my vote on this one. Again, great performance and everything, but doing the clone thing, the Norbit thing, the twin thing, he put a lot of work into that. He walked with a different size shoe. He did all these facial expressions to get dimples on one twin and on the other. Like great stagecraft theater acting, like all that. Like it's all there. It's just movie-wise, honestly, I want it to be Timmy too. I've come around to it. I think Timmy, I want him to get it, but again, he's a bit of a wild card. It's waning on the market a lot the last week or so, especially. Yeah. I'm getting headline updates every other day where it's like people are pulling that it's actually not going to be a clean sweep, So I'll say Timmy.
My vote, I said it then, I still feel it now in my heart. Lead actor Timothée Chalamet is my pick. Frankly, Michael B. Jordan is like my third. Well, would at least be fourth on my list, actually. And if I was to have to rank these, I think Timmy, then Leo, then honestly Ethan Hawke and Blue Moon. That was like when the movie ended, I was like, that was a lot of acting. That was like, and that's all on his shoulders. It is
acting
like
with a capital A.
Yeah, and so like that's in a different era. I feel like this would have been a slam dunk walk away for Ethan Hawke in that one, and then Michael B. Jordan would be my pick. Timmy is my pick. Let me confirm my betting stuff here. But Polymarket uses a different system to set their odds, and it's basically based on who's betting on what, which, for example, is why they've been a little more accurate on election outcomes than some other places have been that just set normal odds. So I do think it's an interesting system there. Polymarket, as of the day of recording, has the favorite to be Michael B. Jordan. So Michael B. Jordan, but the oddschecker.com, which is, I think, an amalgamation of a lot of other odds sites, still has Timmy favored to win. But this is a toss-up. Best Picture, we're talking the big final award of the night, folks. 10 nominees, unlike the other categories. Bugonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners and Train Dreams. I am super coin toss on this one, personally. I said I put Marty Supreme at my end of my year list as my favorite movie of the year. I still feel somewhat true to that in that, again, I think it's partially recency bias. I've seen Marty Supreme more than I saw One Battle After Another. But I do wonder with time, I'm already starting to have this feeling that One Battle After Another could be more of the movie that I remember, where Timmy's performance is the thing that I remember most from Marty Supreme. I would be fine, frankly, if it was Marty Supreme or One Battle After Another. My lowest one on this list is Frankenstein. I don't think it has any business being on this list. Even less business on here than F1, but that's my personal take. What do you got, Brandon?
I think it would make the most sense to give the best picture to a movie that has done well in the box office, that would directly reward the creator, that would be the most, I guess, the biggest statement for making good, enjoyable original movies. A lot of those check those boxes, but in my head, that is Sinners hands down. I think that movie was a March release and it stuck with me for a whole year. The recency bias of seeing Marty and really loving that. One After Another, again in IMAX and loving that. All great movies. Sinners all the way. I think that would be such a great moment in cinema history for a movie that I wrote off as, again, the Black Panther guy making, I thought it would be like MCU level. I even think I called it woke. It was going to be woke. And then I saw it and it changed my mind. It opened my eyes. I was like, this was a great movie. Point blank, and everything else behind it. I'm sounding kind of cringe saying all this, but I want that movie to take that home. I think this was a movie that really inspired me this year, that really, just it did creative swings with, the music scenes, with the musical elements, having like electric guitars, having like an opera rock vibe to it, having scenes that just felt like cinema. A lot of movies do, again, check that box. I'm being really biased, but that's the whole point on our list here, to see that take it home this year and really make me feel validated for talking about that movie all the time. Like every time someone's like, oh, what's like the best movie you can recommend this year? Like what do you recommend, Brandon? As a guy who sees 2 movies a week minimum lately, I still say like go back and watch Sinners. So Sinners all the way for me.
Well, according to the odds, you're going to be a sad boy on Oscar night because both odds sites have One Battle After Another taking the big award home at the end of the night. We hope that helps you guys put together your Oscar ballots this year. Again, a lot of short up ones, but there's a few critical ones. Like I said, the sneaky parts are always the shorts because those are almost complete toss-ups. And we do have a close major category right now with Best Actor. So I'm very interested to see where that goes. So good luck with your ballots. Let us know what you think will happen in that big award. Who do you think? Michael B. Jordan, Timothy Chalamet? Sound off in the comments.
Leave a comment down below to see how much money we lost you or won you if you picked our choices and were foolish enough to listen to 2 guys on a podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you after the Oscars.